Good day, my name is Angelo. This is Nation Voice Tower, your most preferred YouTube channel. Now, there has been a twist to the case involving, or the scandal, let me say, involving Dr. Betta Edu. And yes, Dr. Betta Edu, the former Minister of Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Alleviation, and the Minister of Interior, Olatunji Ojo. Yes, this Betta Edu's case has been trending for a while now, but every day we begin to see twists to this new scandal. All right, every corrupt case has a twist, because for corruption to be perfected to a high degree, that means it did not really begin today. All right, it has really begun long time ago, but the end point was what has been caught or has been given or brought to limelight. All right, so in this particular documentary, I'm going to be explaining categorically the new twist that the Betta Edu case has actually taken. All right, if you don't know, you will not know. That is how it is done. And if you're not close to these people, they would not really tell you what is happening. So we will be looking at how Dr. Betta Edu began this money laundering plan. She did not start today. Did you know that the former Accountant General of the Federation, Mr. Jonah, actually has been a part of this particular case? Yes, and it no longer is, because Mr. Jonah Oguniyi Otunla, really, after he was asked to return 6.3 billion naira, he actually took part in the new scandal that had Betta Edu launder over 9 billion naira in few months. Now, Mr. Jonah Oguniyi Otunla did not only perfect this with his own power. All right, the current Accountant General, Mrs. Oluwatoyin Made Sakirat, was also part of it. So now listen to how this documentary will go. We will be telling you how Dr. Betta Edu's scandal, the new twist in it. Now, the new turn is, you know that the scandal has been named Betta Gate. That is what the new scandal is known as now. All news platforms and all conventional media houses have named the scandal Betta Gate, just like Atiku Gate. You remember Atiku Gate 1, 2, 3? Yes, so the Betta Edu scandal has actually taken a new dimension, where Mr. Jonah Oguniyi Otunla, the former Accountant General, has been exposed, who looted and refunded over 6.3 billion naira, and then the current Accountant General, Mrs. Sakirat Oluwatoyin Made, has also been implicated, and then Mrs. Onyilu Bridget, who is part of the NSIPA, has also been implicated, and these three people formed that dangerous cartel that looted over 54 billion naira from the administration of former President Muhammadu Buhari to the new administration of Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. A disgraced former Accountant General of the Federation, Mr. Jonah Otunla, who refunded allegedly 6.3 billion naira he looted while in office, is also a member of the criminal cartel that benefited from the 3 billion naira National Social Registrar contract awarded by the former Minister of Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Alleviation, Dr. Betta Edu. Mr. Jonah Otunla, through Periscope Consulting Limited, Abuja, where his son, Dapo Otunla, is lead consultant, collected allegedly 277 million naira for consultancy services to verify homes in Katsina, Zamfara, Kebbi, and Sokoto states, respectively. Although Periscope Consulting, according to documents with registration number 1053019, registered allegedly on July 24, 2012, listed one Mrs. Ngozi Maureen Ojiego, known for interior decoration, but the Periscope Consulting Abuja, with an office at the World Trade Center Abuja, that got the 277 million contract, has Dapo, son of Otunla, as lead consultant. Dapo is also the chief executive officer of Stella Vera Companies, a company linked to Mr. Otunla, which was investigated for collecting over 500 million naira from the former National Security Advisor Sambo Dasuki. The former Accountant General, the current Accountant General, Oluwatoyin Made, and Mrs. Bridget Onielu, and one Mr. Benga Badejo are all part of the cartel, who are using the NSIPA as a cash cow, benefiting from all kinds of shady deals. Mrs. Bridget Onielu, whose personal account was used to collect the controversial 585 million naira was an aid to Mr. Otunla. This same Bridget Onielu was the woman seen in a viral video dancing about cash flow with the erstwhile humanitarian minister, Dr. Betta Edu. She and Badejo worked with Mr. Otunla while he served as Accountant General and where he looted over 6.3 billion naira. Mr. Jonah Otunla went further to recommend Onielu to Mrs. Madain, who is now the present Accountant General of the Federation. Mrs. Madain found a willing tool and an ally in Mrs. Bridget Onielu and posted her to the National Social Investment Programs Agency (NSIPA) as a project accountant. Mrs. Bridget Onielu has since then become a front for both the former Accountant General and the current Accountant General while working as a project accountant in the NSIPA. The legitimate movements that have been happening in the NSIPA are not devoid of corrupt practices, because the fraud in the NSIPA, with the blessings and connivance of Dr. Betta Edu, has the modus operandi of Jonah Otunla, the former Accountant General, the technical backing of Mrs. Madain, the present Accountant General, and the foot soldering efforts of Bridget Onielu and Mr. Badejo, who together looted over 9 billion naira in a few months. It is therefore a web of people who don't really have the welfare of Nigerians at heart. This particular web needs to be destroyed before it destroys Nigeria. Alright, welcome back. That cartel is so wide. You heard everything in that documentary, right? Now, every little information, every detail in that documentary has been confirmed through and is being pushed further. Alright, now, the fact that the Minister of Interior, Mr. Tunji Ojo, was not mentioned does not mean that he is not part of this particular fuse. Does not mean he is not part of this particular cartel. Alright, he is part of it. But why he has not been called out publicly yet is because Bola Ahmed Tinubu has not ordered a very, very thorough probe to that part of the investigation. Right? For now, the names that have been mentioned are Mr. Jonah Oguniyi Otunla, the former Accountant General under President Muhammadu Buhari, and then Mrs. Oluwatoyin Madain Sekirat, the present Accountant General, somebody who has just spent 8 months in office, has been part of a looting cartel, and then Mrs. Onielu Bridget, who was actually appointed by the recent Accountant General with the main aim of helping them launder funds. That was why Bridget Onielu was sent to the NSIPA to help money flow into their personal accounts. Alright. Now the truth is that woman in that video, that viral video where Betta Edu was seen dancing with another fair woman in a massive cash flow, has been or is the woman known as Mrs. Bridget Onielu. Alright, now in a second development, we're trying to say, I will be explaining what happened that the Minister of Interior is yet to be probed. In a recent trend of events, the Minister of Interior is yet to be probed. I told you because there has been no thorough investigation or thorough auditing that has been ordered by the President on that particular case. Now, there is actually a conflict of interest when it comes to the issues that bother Dr. Betta Edu, the former and present Accountant General, and those people surrounding the looting of over 50 billion naira in few months. Alright. Now, the truth is, the Minister of Interior, Tunji Ojo's explanation is not actually satisfactory. Yes, his explanation over time is unsatisfactory. His explanation about his involvement in the looting of 438 million naira through his company cannot actually satisfy newsmen, and it has not satisfied the President. So in order to have a better view of all this, I would suggest, just like Mr. Barrister Inibehe Effiong is suggesting in this viral documentary I'm going to show you next, we are suggesting that there should be a proper appropriation and a proper auditing ordered by Mr. President on the issues that have affected the Minister of Interior. If he doesn't order that probe now, then that case may as well be swept under the carpet. I think I don't have a very, very good explanation more than Barrister Inibehe Effiong. Please follow this documentary gradually and you will know why Olatunji Ojo is yet to be called publicly until a proper auditing is ordered by Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, the president.
What was the requirement for the award of this contract?
Yeah.
If you have a contract that is close to almost $500 billion, that is not a joke. And the company in question is not a public company. It's not listed. It's not a public. It's not a trade. It's not a company that is on that you can just go and buy shares from.
Yeah.
It is a private company limited by shares. So again, that is why I said these issues have to be examined carefully. Because if it is a private company limited by shares, it is Corporate Law 101. It simply tells you that the controlling minds of the company, the owners of the company, is quite limited. You could have, in fact, under the current law, you can even have one person, right, as a director of a company. So if you look at the ownership of this company, you would want to ask yourself genuinely, can anybody convince me today that this company has not enjoyed the patronage of the government on account of the influence, on account of the position and status of the minister who is the owner of the company? Because if you say he has resigned as the director, right, it is the shareholders that own a company.
Correct.
That point should be stated clearly. The company belongs to the shareholders, right? They are the ones who own the company.
Yeah.
Directors are people who basically run the company, but in terms of ownership,
yes,
right? Because if at the end of the day, dividends, it goes to the shareholders. It's the shareholders who merit or who earn dividends of a company. So I find his explanation unsatisfactory. And I think that at the heart of this is even the question of this so-called social investment program, or whatever that name the government has given to it. They claim that the government says, we have a school feeding program, which is a part of it. Yeah. We have the conditional cash transfer, right? And then you ask yourself, and then the end power. These projects or social intervention programs have been plagued by grave allegations of corruption over the years from the Buhari dispensation that have never, the government has never made an attempt to properly investigate it. Because except you look at the root of it, you will not know why we get to where we are currently. Now, when the minister says that he had divested himself from the company, that he had resigned as a director, of course you cannot be a director while still serving as a minister. That would itself be a direct contravention of the Code of Conduct Bureau and Tribunals Act, of the provisions of the fifth schedule to the Constitution. So you cannot be earning double emoluments. That is why he had to resign. But that doesn't mean that you don't have an interest in the company. And let us not kid ourselves. We know how these things happen in real life, right? Even public officers who engage in money laundering, and I'm speaking generally, politicians and public officers who indulge in money laundering and corruption, they don't simply go to the vaults, right? Or to the treasury and take the money out. They do it through proxies. Yeah. They do it through, pseudo entities. Yeah. They use companies that they have interest or that their proxies are controlling. And we know that the real awards of contracts is not in fact, even when they advertise, the real decision to award a contract, sometimes those conversations take place behind the scene. So I, as a Nigerian, cannot sit here and say that this company earned this contract solely on its own accord, without the possible influence and reference to the minister who has interest in it. But let us go beyond that. We have a situation where and really, I don't understand why they said the president had invited him. Was it for a coffee break? Was it for a tea? What did the president invite him for? Why was it not EFCC that invited him? Right? I commend the Minister of Interior, for the reforms he has tried to introduce in his ministry. Yeah. In terms of the ability of Nigerians to get passports, he has really done. One can concede to him. He has done well. He has done well.
To be the shining star of the cabinet.
Which is why this is worrisome. So if he, with the track record he has tried, with the direction he has tried to take in his ministry, if they mention this scandal, how about the ones we've not heard of? So I want the president to go beyond this window dressing. Let us have an audit. If the president is serious about investigating this conflict of interest or investigating the corruption allegation that has trailed the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, I'm challenging the president today to not just say EFCC should investigate the specifics, allegations that are made against Betta Edu, right? The suspended minister. Let us have a review of the entire national social investment projects. Let us begin to ask the question: who are the beneficiaries of the N-Power? How come that as a country in 2024, I cannot go on the internet with all the money? Look at, they claim they spend almost $500 billion for consultancy. What was they consulting for? What is the services that was rendered that you spend that amount of money? How come that as a country in the 21st century, I cannot simply stay in the comfort of my home and Google and go on the internet to see who the beneficiaries of the N-Power are, to see who the beneficiaries of the conditional cash transfer are? The information is not there.
Vulnerables, and many of them do
who
not
are
have
there?
bank accounts.
Who are there?
Who are they?
Who are there? So this so-called social investment, and I don't like the idea of saying it has been suspended for 6 weeks. The entire program should be scrapped before we can even reconsider whether it should be sustained or not. Let it be scrapped in the interim until the president of Nigeria today, Tinubu, is able to tell Nigerians that these are the beneficiaries of these social investment interventions over the years, and it shouldn't be limited to his government from the Buhari dispensation. Yeah. But you see, let us be honest. Tinubu did not campaign on fighting corruption was not at the forefront of his campaign. But it is good that at least we have seen some element of what I would call presidential presence, which under Buhari, who was said to be an anti-corruption person, we did not see. But let us go beyond the window dressing. There are fundamental issues. How come that public funds in billions were transferred to private accounts? Who are the owners of those accounts? Why was that decision taken? Is that not in contravention of the public rules, the code of conduct for public officers? How come that these things will happen? So we cannot allow this kind of infractions to happen, and at the end of the day, it becomes a partisan conversation. Oh, that EFCC has been invited. We want to see people go to court. We want to see people arraigned. We want to see people detained.
Okay, all said and done. These two fraud cases are still on point, and they are at their peak. All right, it's okay, and it's so sad that Betta Edu has taken the fall. She is now the fall guy here, but that doesn't mean lots of ministers don't engage in this fraudulent activity. All right, so it is yet to be seen if Mr. Tunji Ojo will be called out, and if Mrs. Made Oluwatoyin Sakirat, the present accountant general, will be called out. All right. Already, Mrs. Bridget Oniyelu from the NSIPA has already been implicated. All right. These people will soon face the hangman's rope. When I say the hangman's rope, I mean they will soon face a probe. But we will keep our fingers crossed and our eyes and heads up. So we'll see where all of these things would lead us. Thank you so much for staying this far. Please like and share this video. Don't forget to drop comments for us in the comment section. And if you're watching me for the first time, please tap the subscribe button so we'll get to link up when I drop a new update. See you next time from Ease. Bye.